Hello and welcome to this video on profitable investing according to Peter Lynch. Peter Lynch is a famous American investor and former mutual fund manager who achieved great success by investing in growing companies. Lynch has written several books on investing, one of the most well-known being One Up on Wall Street. In this book, he shares his investment philosophy and provides advice on how to choose profitable stocks. Lynch's first rule for finding profitable stocks is to look for companies that have a competitive advantage over their competitors. He recommends choosing companies that have a unique product or service, a strong brand, or a technological advantage. These companies have a better chance of long-term success and generating profits for investors. Lynch's second rule is to look for companies that have steady and predictable earnings growth. Companies with consistent earnings growth are more attractive to investors because they have a greater chance of generating long-term profits. Lynch's third rule is to look for companies whose leaders are competent and honest. Competent leaders can make informed decisions to improve the company and increase its value, while honest leaders act in the interest of shareholders. Lynch's fourth rule is to invest in companies with reasonable valuations. Investors should not overpay for a company, even if it looks attractive on paper. Lynch recommends using ratios like the price-to-earnings ratio to evaluate whether a company is overvalued or undervalued. Lynch's fifth rule is not to rely solely on financial analysts to make investment decisions. Lynch believes that investors should do their own research and evaluate companies themselves before investing. Lynch's sixth rule is to diversify their investment portfolio. Lynch recommends investing in different industries and different types of stocks to reduce risks. Lynch's seventh rule is not to panic in case of market fluctuations. Investors should be prepared to see the value of their investments fluctuate, but they should not panic and sell their stocks in case of a temporary drop in prices. Lynch's eighth rule is to stay informed about changes in the industry and economic environment. Investors should be aware of long-term trends in the industry and the economy in general to make informed investment decisions. Lynch's ninth rule is to be patient. Lynch recommends that investors hold onto their stocks for at least 3 to 5 years, or even longer, to give them time to grow and realize their growth potential. Lynch's 10th rule is to remain humble. Investors should be aware of their limitations and past mistakes, and be willing to learn from their mistakes to improve their investment performance in the future. By following these investment rules, investors can improve their chances of succeeding in the investment world and generating profitable returns in the long term. The 11th rule of Lynch is not to rely too much on macroeconomic forecasts. Lynch believes that economic forecasts are often inaccurate and that investors should not rely too heavily on them to make investment decisions. The 12th rule of Lynch is to look for signs of growth in the company. Lynch recommends looking for signs of growth such as increasing earnings, sales, and profit margins to determine if a company is growing. The 13th rule of Lynch is to use common sense. Lynch believes that investors should use their common sense to evaluate companies and make investment decisions. This means looking for companies that have a clear competitive advantage and competent leadership. The 14th rule of Lynch is to stay invested in stocks when the market is rising. Lynch recommends that investors do not sell their stocks simply because the market is rising, as this can cause them to miss out on potential long-term gains. Finally, the 15th rule of Lynch is to remain open to new investment ideas. Lynch believes that investors should not be afraid to explore new investment ideas and take calculated risks to diversify their investment portfolio. In conclusion, Peter Lynch's investment approach involves looking for companies with a competitive advantage, consistent and predictable earnings growth, competent and honest leadership, reasonable valuations, and thorough personal research. By following these rules, investors can increase their chances of finding profitable long-term stocks. Thank you for watching this video and see you soon for more investment advice.